Thank you so much for joining us on this week's Good News. I'm sitting down with Aisha over at Youth Villages, and she is here to share all the good that you all are doing right now. So Aisha, tell us a little bit about your role at Youth Villages and what exactly that you do there.
Yeah, so I've been with Youth Villages for 9 years, and I've been in the same position, and what I do is just connect with people like you in the community and continue to raise awareness and be a voice for the kids that we serve, and tell people about our foster care program, how they can be foster parents. A lot of what I do is just giving out information, because as much as we know about the foster care system, there's so much that people don't know, and they just don't know how they can support. So that's basically what I do.
Okay, that's awesome. So what are some ways, because we know, as far as the foster system, being a foster parent is probably the most known part. Is there other parts as well that people can do if they can't necessarily foster?
Yep. So May is Foster Care Awareness Month, and so this is a month that I really pull on everybody, because everybody can play a part this month, like you know, and using their platform or their voice to share stories, to support their friends and families that are also foster parents. That's a great way to support. And so the biggest thing is going to be to keep the conversation going. Yeah. However they can do that, keep the conversation going, not just about becoming foster parents, but to be a voice for the kids. Like that's if we could just all collectively be a voice for the children that we serve, we can make such a big difference. So.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. So what is your most favorite part about your job? Because you've been in the same role for, the past, you said 9 years.
Yep,
so what do you love most about that?
Connecting with the people, the different people that I connect with, because I'm just a part of their journey to become foster parents.
Yeah.
So another part of what I do is get them in class and get them certified, and then they go on to the next chapter of actually getting a kid in their home. There are some really awesome people out here that have amazing journeys. Yeah. Some journeys have prepared them perfectly to support the children that we serve. Yeah. And so, they might not have wanted to experience some of the stuff they experienced, but because they got through it, they have the perfect tools to help our children. So really connecting with people is my favorite part. Yeah. So
that's awesome. I love that. Now I'd love to hear a few stories that you have, with connecting with people over the past 9 years. I'd say you have a bunch of stories, but do you have a couple that you can share with our listeners right now?
Yes, I always have stories.
Good.
I do want to share something that a foster parent shared with me that happened to her for Mother's Day, and it was really cool. She just sent me a text message. I don't think she realized how much it really meant to me for her to send that, but on Mother's Day she sent me a picture of some flowers that she received, and basically she received flowers from some kids that she served, their mother. And so the kids had already went back to their biological mom, and so she sent the flowers and with a card, and all it said was, "Thank you for being a mom to my boys when they needed it the most." And I was just like, wow, like that's what it's about. And that's the connecting part too. So even our foster parents connecting further to other families, not just the kids that we serve, but their families, which I'm sure is gonna make that mom, she's always gonna be grateful for that foster mom, you know? And that foster mom is probably always gonna be a part of her family. We've had there's this one family that we served. They're no longer with us, but they adopted some kids, but they also fostered a lot of kids, and so they were such great encouragement to other parents that we served, because of the stories that they had. And one of the stories they told me that stuck with me was how they were fostering this teen, and they went on back home to their biological parents, and they still get calls. They get invited to birthday parties. They get invited to all type of celebrations, and that's the part, if it happens, it's beautiful, you know, because so many times when we think about foster care, we just think about the kids that we serve. Sometimes we don't think about the entire family unit that we also serve. And not only how you can be an impact on those kids, but how you can be on on their families. One more really, really cool story.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was getting my groceries out of the cart, right? And I hear somebody say, "Hey, Aisha," and I look up, and it's one of the kids that a family that I certified. They went on and adopted 3 siblings, and they were all teens. There's a lot of misconceptions about parenting teens, right? And so they adopted all 3 of them, and this one of them was one of the boys. He just so happened to be dating a girl that lived in my neighborhood.
Oh wow.
They are now married. They're doing great, and of course, I'm friends with both of them on Facebook, and it's hard for me to see them grow up and to know where they came from. Like I want to always be connected like that if I can, because when I'm working with families, we're not just trying to get these kids to 18. Like it's about their entire life. And that foster family didn't have biological kids, so now they're having kids, and now they're grandparents, through children that they adopted. So it's just like, it just keeps getting better and better, So.
Wow, that's amazing. I love those stories, though, in particular, because those are ones you don't usually hear very often. A lot of times, the foster parent and the biological parents, there's tension there, because as a biological parent, you can almost feel like your kids are being taken from you, like that family is taking your kids. And so I love that story of how the biological parents are so thankful for the foster parents for stepping up and being a parent to them when they needed it. That's amazing. And then the last one of the kids growing up, getting married, and now having grandkids, like that's awesome. I love that these kids are pulled from bad situations, and that it's not the end. This difficulty that they're facing right now, this huge point of their life is not the end for them. This is, they can get married. They continue to live on just like everybody else. So I love that. That's amazing. I really appreciate you sharing that today.
My pleasure.
Now you all have something going on in June. What exactly is that?
Yeah, it's just a cute foster parent Q&A panel, I believe is what we're calling it. And we're partnering, it's a great partnership. So we're partnering with the Department of Children's Services. We're partnering with Isaiah 117 House.
Awesome.
And the church that we're partnering with is Greater Life of Kingsport. And so the pastor and first lady there, they're actually foster parents with DCS.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a great way for us to come together as well, because sometimes people that are trying to research, they see us all as like separate entities, and it's just like, so it's really great for us to come together and to show even that partnership within the programs. So it is June the 3rd, and we're doing it in person and virtually, and like I said, we're gonna have foster parents on. I'm excited about Isaiah 117 House being on, and then just talking about the difference between youth villages and DCS, so a private provider versus like the state. So just answering questions that people might have, so they can see if they want to move forward or not.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is this then set for like mostly people that are thinking about fostering, or who exactly is this audience to?
Yep, it's people that just have questions about becoming a foster parent, and it's just a great time for them to join in. Or also, when you think about Isaiah 117 House, these are people that they probably can't foster, but they want to see other ways that they can support. And so that's where Isaiah 117 House will come into play.
Yeah, that's awesome. So this is June 3rd, which is, what day is that?
That is Thursday. That is 2 Thursdays from now.
Okay.
June
So 2 Thursdays. That's crazy.
Right.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yep.
Where is it happening at?
It's going to be in Kingsport. It's at Greater Life of Kingsport. church, and
Okay.
if any of listeners or anything want more information, they can just contact me and I can get them
Okay.
set up.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. I'll put, if you can send me all the contact information, I'll link it in this video.
Yep.
So if you're listening right now and not watching this, if you go to our YouTube channel, just WCQR, this video will be there, and all the information, how to contact you and get involved, will be in the description there. So you don't have to worry about trying to memorize anything while you're driving. Yeah, that's awesome. So now tell me a little bit more. So you've been there for 9 years at Youth Villages in the exact same position, which is pretty impressive. I've worked at like 15 jobs in the past month, it feels like. So that's pretty amazing. Now, would you say that what you're doing right now, that you are called to do that?
most definitely. Yeah. I definitely feel. At first, it was just kind of just trying to get to. I moved to Johnson City from Knoxville, and at the time, I didn't know Tennessee went past Knoxville.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend, and he was like, "Hey, you want to move to Johnson City?" I was like, "Where's Johnson City?" It's like, "Oh, yes, of course." And so once I got in it, the reason why I feel like I've been called is because before I even got the job, I was working in the mall in Knoxville, and I worked at Chick-fil-A. And there was this girl that always came in, and it would be her, a lady, kids, and a guy. I never knew what was going on. And every time she came and ordered food, she was crying. Every single time. Wow. And so eventually I started walking around and giving her a hug. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but it's going to be okay. Yeah. And, this was once a week. So eventually I found out she was having visitation with her kids there. And so I really do not know how the middle part of this story, but at some point she was living with me.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and so I try to remember how it transitioned. I just can't. But one of the things she needed to do was to live separately from the guy in order to get her kids back. And I don't know how or why. This is a complete stranger, right?
Wow.
And so she's living with me, and we kind of put some things in place. Like when I go to work, you have to go out and for a job and stuff like that, because I didn't want to give her a key. She was really sweet. I needed to see what biological parents go through, because at the time I didn't have children. I didn't have experience parenting, and so to go into this role, I needed to see the other side. She struggled a lot. The one time she came back and she cut all her hair off. Wow. Because she said she had a court visit, and all she said was that they wouldn't even acknowledge that she was there. And so I don't know the situation. I only know her, so of course my heart goes out to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how that would feel. And at some point she said she gave up because she couldn't do the things that she needed to do, and she ended up signing her rights over. As much as I love her, the kids were definitely better off with that family. But to see her go through what she went through, it just reminds me, it gives me a reason to encourage parents to have empathy when working with our biological parents, because they never know. You know some of the things, but you don't know how a person's journey to that point. We don't know their childhood. It could be a revolving door, and so we have to show empathy, and we have to have grace for everybody. So because of that, and where I am now, that's why I feel like I've been called to be in this position.
That's amazing. That's a really unique perspective, though, to your first introduction into the foster system was through a biological parent coming to live with you, which is crazy. And I love that, though. I love that you were willing to open your door for a stranger in order to help them. And now you're helping people every day for the past 9 years. So that's amazing, and I love that. And I really just appreciate all the work that you do. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. Like I said earlier before we recorded, my wife, she's a foster care worker for DCS, and there is good things that happen, but there's also a lot of difficulty, a lot of pain, a lot of struggles, because you do love these kids. You love the parents, you love the foster parents, and you build relationships with them, and trying to help them, but also trying to care for them, trying to make sure that they're loved, making sure the bio parents don't feel that they are loved, and that you're supporting them. Like, hey, I want you to get better. I want this. I want you to get your kids back. And having that kind of heart for them, but also seeing them, just like with your friend that ended up, giving her rights away. That's difficult. And so I don't want to blow past that, because I know that is a hard thing that you deal with. So I want to make sure that that I see that, and I really appreciate the sacrifice. I know there is good. I see the good, and I'm so thankful that there is good, but I also know that there's a lot of difficulty, and I appreciate you being willing to push through that difficulty and continue to love these kids, because I know many people wouldn't be able to be in the position that you are in and love as much as you love, but also to be able to be hurt like you're hurt. So we really appreciate that and appreciate your sacrifice, and just I want to encourage you, keep loving these kids, these families, and what you are doing is good and is making a difference in so many lives. I mean, these kids that you see, these parents that you see 50 years down the road will remember you, and they'll say, because of her, this is where I'm at today. Because of Aisha, this is where I'm at. So I just want to make sure that you know that, and that you're reminded of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And again, I'll link to everything in this video. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your heart, sharing your story, and sharing what you all are doing on June the 3rd, which is... Is it Thursday or Wednesday?
It's a Thursday. Yep.
Thursday. Okay, because it's right before our Mercy Me concert. That's coming up on June 4th. So, but yeah, so we'll share that. And again, I just really appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Definitely.